Hey guys, Vaulsc here, hope that you're doing well. The campaign, Operation Wraithstar, is off to a great start. We've got 12 players for every faction now. They're all in their own Discord roles and their secret HQs, talking fervently about how they are going to win. That doesn't mean you can't sign up for the event. I'd love you guys to continue signing up. We have a few people here on the wait list, and the way this is going to work now is that as soon as a spot becomes open in one of the factions, I'll move you in. I might even sit you in on the Discord role group so you can see what everybody's saying. There may be player dropouts during the event, which will allow me to sub you in. And of course, if we get another 12 sign-ups, I might be able to sort of allocate everybody around so the teams have 13 players, which will be excellent. Anyway, I have decided to meet with each of the 8 faction bosses, the commanders, and we're going to get to know them, but I'm also going to ask them some very important strategy questions and get them to make some dice rolls, which will determine which factions are going to be playing against which factions in the opening round of the campaign and on which of the zones, the missions and the maps. So pay close attention as we go and meet them and find out what they have to say, and of course find out what the results are going to be at the end of all of this. Alright, so next we're going to be talking to Commander Cthulhu from NA2 and Toha. Let's go onto Discord and give him a call. Yeah, phone's ringing. Hey, Vaulsc here. We got Cthulhu?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How do I pronounce it? Is it Cthulhu? Obviously, I've read Lovecraft, but it's been a while. How do you actually say it?
Cthulhu. You got it right the first time.
Cthulhu. All right, Commander Cthulhu. So NA2, it's the mercenaries and it's Toha, and obviously the corporate superpowers have dug deep into their wallets and have paid for all of you, basically. Very impressive that all 12 players in the faction have paid an entry fee, so thank you very much for that. Obviously, the corporate overlords are extremely rich. Are you ready to lead them to victory?
I am.
Excellent. Now, another thing that we have to talk about is the fact that somehow this big SoCal group, so to speak, has all teamed together. Can you tell me a little bit more about how that seems to have transpired?
Yeah, so we were just talking about the mixed league, discussing, what factions you're going to play. I think somebody just had the idea, like, hey, our server's called SoCal Brawlers. Why not just go in all as the NA2 team? And we all latched onto the idea, and then, I think a lot of people weren't even going to go for it. We're like, that sounds like a really good idea. Now I want to go into that. So we all decided to just do it. Like, immediately bandwagoned on it, and here we are.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's get straight down to business. I have had a quick read of what you messaged me earlier, but let's be official about it. Alright, so we've got your model in the corporate building here. Do you want to go ahead and hover over that lieutenant's token, flip it over? So we'll spend the lieutenant's order, and we'll spend a short skill, and we'll approach the command table.
Alright.
In fact, I'm just going to do it for you. I'm just going to move them over. There we
perfect.
go. Yeah. I can't waste time. Alrighty. Okay, we are here. Now, the faction matchups haven't been decided, but on the 17th at 5:30 p.m. New Zealand time, I'm going to be posting everybody's matchups. The faction that you face in the first round will matter. In fact, it'll matter every single round. Which faction do you most want to get paired up against?
The faction we chose to try to go up against is actually Pano.
Alrighty. I didn't ask you this earlier, but if for some reason you don't get to be paired up against them, do you have a second choice preference?
Well, personally, I think I would like to go up against...
Quickly!
I think Compact Army.
Alright. Okay. That's been entered in. Now, you will be facing off against the commander of the enemy faction, whoever that is, so good luck to that. But we need a champion as well. Who have you designated as your champion for the mercenaries?
We have designated East of Irem.
East of Irem. I noticed that somebody called him Beast of Irem in the chat. Was that just a typo, or is that actually what he's called?
No, I just, when we elected him as the faction champion, I started reacting with the emojis Beast of Irem, and then people started calling him that.
He does seem like a bit of a beast, but nice guy at the same time. I'm not talking about his personality being beastly. His gameplay, though, Definitely. All right. Now you are going to need to form a defensive fire team. Who have we got for that?
So the people who volunteered to jump under the bus is Cavrion, Pseudonym, and Lord Frank.
Yeah, those guys are pretty good. I feel like it's the enemy who's going to be under the bus, to be honest. They are like a bus that will run over the opposition. Cavrion obviously did very well in the last league. Pseudonym's a good player. Lord Frank actually beat me in League Season 1 in one of our casual games, and I still need to get back at him, so looks like a strong lineup. What factions do they play again?
Oh, so Lord Frank is playing JSA, Pseudonym is playing Toha, and Cav is playing Dashat.
Dashat, that's right. Yeah, okay, that's going to be strong. Now, have you guys had a chance to look at the missions and the maps and have a talk about them?
Yeah, actually, we got a group of about 5 of us together into a voice chat to go over all the maps and look at them. And we did some analysis of each map, our relative strengths and weaknesses, and how that play into each map and scenario.
All right. So, which ones do you prefer to be playing on for round 1? And you'll be deciding this despite not knowing the enemy faction yet. So it's just a purely about mission.
So the ones we decided to favor are recovery, unmasking, and supplies.
Recovery, unmasking, and supplies. Well, I mean, we are on air, so I won't ask you for the reasons behind that because other people are going to benefit. But fair enough. Was there one in particular you guys decided not to choose, that you vetoed?
Yeah, we vetoed Finish Line.
Finish Line. That's my favorite. Why would you do that? Okay. Alrighty. Now, here's how it works. Only one other faction has handed in their information before you. So, good job getting in there quickly. In a second, I'm going to get you to roll a d20. And they're going to be 2 separate rolls. So the first roll is going to be a score that contributes to your ability to get paired up against a faction that you prefer. So if everybody makes a dice roll, all the commanders that is, and somebody gets the highest roll, I'm likely to give them their preference of faction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thing is, though, if you, let's say you've chosen to go up against Pan-Oceania, and Pan-Oceania happen to win that role and choose some other faction that isn't you, there won't actually be a preference once we get down the list to you, which is one reason why I decided to ask for your secondary, which is Combined Army. So, good chance you might not be playing either of them, but if it does come down to you, that's going to matter. Now, the second dice roll I'm going to get you to make will pertain to whether you get your way with the mission. Whether you, I mean, if there's a bit of conflict between you and your opponent, they want these missions, you want these missions, I'll generally give it to the person who got the highest score. Now, I did say there would be a small reward for getting this information in really quickly, and you were the second faction to get it in. So what I'm going to do is allow you to choose either the role for faction choice or mission choice, and whichever one you go with, I'm going to let you roll twice and pick the highest dice for that particular option. Now, I need you to decide right now, though, do you want that bonus to apply for the choice of faction or the choice of mission?
I think we're going to have it apply to the choice of faction.
Alrighty, okay, so I'm going to go over here to this dice, and I'm actually going to copy it and paste it. And in fact, what's going to happen is it's probably like bounced off somewhere completely outside of the table. So I'm just going to go grab it. This is why we don't play games in this map. This is why it's just a diorama.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Corporate building TTS. You know what? I'm going to get you to just roll it twice. Okay, so make your first roll, and this is for the faction choice.
Alright, first roll coming up.
4. Ooh. Not for. I'm glad you chose to have this apply to this. So you better next roll better be a good one. Otherwise, the other factions are going to run over you in this one. So roll it again.
All right, here we go. Come on, 20.
Better. Yeah. So thanks to your good preparation, obviously, and your hastiness and your efficiency, you're left with a pretty significant number. So I'm going to write down 14 for NA2. All right. Next up is going to be your rating for how we're going to determine who gets what with the mission. So I'm going to get you to roll that dice one more time, and this will impact the likelihood of you getting the mission that you want. Go ahead.
All right. Sounds good. Here we go. And
pretty average. Pretty average. All right, so mission choice. Alrighty. That's pretty much all we need. I better get going because I've got Yu Cheng knocking on the door, wanting to, attend the summit. Any last words or any other comments that you want to get through before we send you on your way?
Not much. Just hope everyone has fun, and thanks, Paul, for putting this together.
No worries, buddy. All right, best of luck in the campaign, and I'll be following your results fairly closely.
All right.
Catch you later, buddy. All right, time to talk to Commander Perzan of Hakislam. Let's give him a ring. All right, you able to hear me there, Perzan?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic.
It's not Perzan, it's Perzan, actually.
Perzan.
Perzan.
Perzan. Perzan.
Exactly.
Thank you for
Perzan.
correcting me on that.
No worries. It's for my surname. I'm Perzanowski, so Perzan is just for
I did notice that. I did. It's Lucas as the first name. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or is that got a different pronunciation as well?
Yeah. Łukasz, but it's Lucas is fine.
Okay.
Luke.
Well, I'm looking at this very fat model here eating the noodles, but that's you.
I'm not that fat. I'm just a bit chubby, and I really like.
Excuse me, sir. I did not mean to offend you. Let's just.
No, I call him Fat Farzan, and I chose him for a reason. I feel connected. Like the beard on this model is like very, very me.
It's an excellent model, and I'm very jealous of his noodles right now because I could do with some.
Also, I think that I would say like the Al-Jabal is like an agent I would send to kill stuff.
Yeah,
and this model
good point.
better represents my personality. Like,
yeah,
he's sitting in a corner, like
he's just sitting there, not dying.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Observing.
Well, we need to get down to business because I don't have that much time. Alrighty.
Yeah.
So anyway, are you ready to lead Hakislam to victory? Have you got that sorted?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Okay, so we are in the corporate building right now, and we are about to get this started. There's a lieutenant token next to the ground. Now, since you're not in TTS, this is just a phone call. I've got this proxy here for you. I'm just going to go ahead and flip over this lieutenant's order. I'm going to spend a short skill, and we're going to move your guy up to the command table where it's all happening. Now, you did DM me some info earlier, but you don't seem to have made, unless I've just read this wrong, I don't see your choice of which faction you'd prefer to face in the first round.
Yeah, we have basically just two voices. My voice was against O12 and Aleph, and another was against Eugene. So
well, you're the boss. You tell me what you want to choose.
Let's say O12.
All right. Now, I didn't ask you to come up with this information, but I have been asking the other faction commanders for this. You do get a secondary preference if, for some reason, you're not able to play against O12. So, what was the other one you mentioned?
Yeah, and Eugene.
Eugene. Okay. Here's how it's going to work. Every faction commander is going to roll a d20, and I'm going to sort of write down what they rolled, and then we're just going to do it highest to lowest. The highest faction commander, I'm going to look at who they chose and work out the matchups. It may happen that O12 and Yu Cheng roll higher than you and get in ahead of you and get their matchups, in which case you'll just get what you're left with. So that's how that's going to work. I'll also be comparing the information about your mission choices to the opposing commander's mission choices, and there'll be a separate dice roll for that, and we'll just sort of work it out, and who gets the highest gets their preference, basically. Now, I did say that there would be a small bonus for getting your information in quickly. Now, you were the third faction commander to do that, so thanks for being efficient and onto it. So here is what I'm going to allow you to do. You can choose either the roll for faction preference or the roll for mission preference, and whichever one you choose, I'll allow you to roll 2 dice and pick the highest for that particular outcome. But I do need you to decide right now, would you prefer to have that bonus apply for the faction choice or the mission choice? What's more important?
The mission choice.
Mission choice, okay. Well, I know you can't see this right now, but I'm going to go ahead and roll this Hakislam D20 for faction choice. Faction, so your preference is O12, Yu Cheng. Let's see what the dice comes down as. Oh, a 2. I am recording it. Okay, so yeah, you will see this on YouTube, but yeah, no. Despite getting to the table quickly, your planning has not been very good as far as this dice roll is concerned. faction choice equals 2.
Mission is more important.
All right. Speaking of missions, I know we looked at it earlier, but just for the sake of this presentation, which missions are you preferring that your faction plays round 1?
I need to consult. I think it was Frostbite, definitely. Then it was...
You tell me if this is correct. I've written down Frostbite, Supplies, and Info Sweep.
Yes, that's correct.
I love the fact you've put Info Sweep on that because that's my new mission, and we haven't really place tested that very much. But I'm sure you've got...
The table didn't look as bad as it could.
I'm sure you've got some reasons for thinking Hakislam will do well on these missions. You don't have to tell me. This is public right now, so we don't want to give too much away to your opponents. Was there a specific mission you didn't want to play?
Yes, we didn't want to play Annihilation.
Okay.
There were 2 more, but we didn't want to play, but we only get 1 veto.
Yeah, I didn't want everybody to veto all of the maps. Okay, well, you do get 2 dice rolls, and you get the highest of the 2 rolls, and this will count towards the likelihood that you get to play a mission of your choosing. So I'm going to go ahead and make some rolls. Here comes the first one. 15, not bad. We do get a chance to improve on that. Let's try it again. And an 8. So the 15 will stand. Mission choice equals 15. Well, you may not necessarily get to choose which faction you're facing round 1. However, maybe O12 and Yuchen will pick you guys. I have to say, though, despite me shifting Wyrok no Die from Hakislam to Ariadne, the roster's still looking stacked. It's looking like a really good list. You know, I wasn't going to say this, but I've been reading some of the chat in other people's secret headquarters. They're afraid, man. They're not feeling very good about Hakislam being on the scene, and I guess that's for good reason. I mean, we've got yourself, we've got fucking Beast Mode Billy, we've got Bidfell, who did well in the Casual League. Let me just take a quick look at it. I mean, it's looking pretty strong. Kyle's in there, he did pretty well, and I'll try and get one more person at least in before the end of the week, if not more. But yeah, how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good. We had a little plan for like a plan within a plan, put a defensive fire team of all experts, but yeah, it didn't come through because of you snatching the Wyrok no Die from us. So yeah,
well, that's on him. Now I don't know if we have we talked about the fire team in this phone call. Let me know. Who have you gone with?
I've gone with the Spear, Hot Fresh Tofu, and Big Choppa, simply on the account that they were all vanilla Hakislam, at least at the time of choosing them, because I hope that they won't change the faction. I know the Big Choppa is all into vanilla Hakislam, but I don't know the Spear and Hot Fresh Tofu because they didn't really weren't really active in the chat.
They are allowed to change their sectorial so long as they make that decision before I give the information to the other factions.
If they were just vanilla, I think, right now.
Okay.
But we'll see how they feel.
All right. Well, there is still a possibility of any player changing their faction before information is submitted. We still probably have another day or 2. But I'll keep you posted on how that's going. All right, I'm about to sign off. Any other final comments or thoughts about the campaign that you need to share?
No, I'm just hoping that it will just go fine and we'll win and have a blast playing the game.
I think you will as well. All right, well, thanks for joining me. I'll see you later.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
All right, it is now time to talk to Commander Lobo from Ariadne. Let's give him a ring. Okay, Commander Lobo, it's Vaulsc here. How you going?
I'm doing very well. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. I see that you have shown up in person. Thank you for doing so. Are you ready to lead the forces of Ariadne to victory in this campaign?
Absolutely. The rest of the sphere has grown soft. We're the only ones who actually remained hard through our isolation.
Is that right? Well, let's see what you've got. I want you to flip over that lieutenant's order, and then we're spending a short skill on you, and you can approach the command table.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, Ariadne's looking good. Wyrock No Die has recently been transferred from Hakaslam to Ariadne. I heard there were some issues there, so that has happened. In the last couple of days, Ariadne has seen the fewest number of sign-ups, but the thing is, we now have 10 people in there, and the next couple of sign-ups that will show up overnight will basically be allocated to Ariadne.
Okay.
Now, there is a player, Schmidt, who is in Combined Army at the moment. It's a small possibility if we get a lot of sign-ups for Combined Army that he'll be transferred. But we'll talk about that another time. Right now, let's deal with business. So, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to get you to make 2 separate dice rolls. The first dice roll will basically be recorded and compared to the roll that all of the other commanders have made. And then I'll basically go down a list of highest to lowest, and whoever gets the highest will simply get to choose who they face in the first round, and it will just sort of work its way down. The second dice roll that you'll be making will be on record and compared to whoever you get matched up against, and whoever has the highest roll in that matchup, I'll give them their choice of mission. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Excellent. So with that in mind, let's have a talk about it. Which faction have Ariadne chosen to prefer to face in the first round?
The State Empire. I'm going to go after Yu Jing.
Ah, very intriguing. Okay, well, to do that, you're going to need a good team. You'll have to face Bad Lazor in close combat, most likely, if that does eventuate. Are you ready for that eventuality?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I owe him for last league, actually.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay. Now, you will need a champion to face their champion. Who was that going to be?
It's going to be Jay Mustang.
Jay Mustang. Okay, and have you assembled a defensive fire team?
That's correct. I've chosen all the experts on our team.
All of the experts? You've just put them all into one basket?
Correct. Correct.
Very nice. I like your style.
Well, I mean, if they're going to know who their opponent is and be able to plan against it,
they might not even show up once they see these guys. All right, out with it. Who is it going to be?
So it's Safer, Wyrock No Die, and Brunmar.
I haven't played against Brunmar. Wyrock No Die is pretty good, and Safe has done well in our league. So yeah, these guys are definitely not to be underestimated. Right. So, the first dice roll will be there to determine the potential faction opponent. I did say there would be a bonus if you submitted your results within 24 hours, and you've just barely done that. You've just come in like within 15 minutes of me cutting that off. So let me explain how that bonus will work since you're entitled to it. You need to choose whether the bonus will apply to the dice roll for faction choice or mission choice. And whichever you choose, I'm going to allow you to roll twice and pick the highest result. But you need to tell me right now whether you'd like that to apply to the roll for preferred opponent faction or preferred mission in whatever matchup you get.
I think mission is more important than faction. So I'm going to choose the bonus to the mission.
Okay, fantastic. Now, let's say your roll for faction opponent isn't enough, and somebody else gets to choose before you, and they choose to face Yu Jing, and we don't even know what your preference is after that. I'm going to let you choose, right now, a second preference. I didn't ask you for this before, but I want you to think right now, and I'll give you 10 seconds. Which other faction would you prefer to face if it can't be Yu Jing?
I'm going to say Nomads.
Nomads. Ah, a decisive answer. All right, I'm going to write that down. All right. Well, the dice bonus will apply to mission. We'll get to that. For now, it's time. I'd like you to roll that dice to determine your initiative for faction choice. A 5. Okay, not the best. You're lagging a bit behind the other factions. I mean, we have had a lot of commanders come through here, and there have been some dice rolls a lot higher than that one, so it's unlikely that you'll get your preferred choice. But hey, maybe Yu Jing have decided that they'll play against you. Who knows?
It's true.
Having watched public chat, though, I think there's something going on between them and Pan-Oceania. So, all right. So, faction choice equals 5. Now, here's the more important one, as you so eloquently put it. I'll let you roll 2 times in a row, and we'll see which one comes up highest for the mission choice. Go ahead. 5 again. Okay, you can improve on that. And
Nope.
Okay. All right. Mission choice equals 5. All right. Well, my condolences. Unfortunately, you haven't come with very good surveillance equipment knowledge or strategic or tactical ability whatsoever. But let's hope that your camouflage and your rifles and smoke grenades can make up for that.
Don't forget the flamethrowers.
And the flamethrowers. I'm sure there'll be more than enough. Is there anything that you wanted to say on behalf of your faction publicly for this campaign?
No, I think we'll let our actions on the battlefield speak for us.
Speak for yourselves. Do you have any communication for your potential opponents and adversaries at all?
No, not at this time.
Oh, well, just straight to the point. Well, that was very effective and efficient and quick. I'll be announcing who you'll be facing and what mission it'll be on, probably within the next 24 hours. So that's it for this this Summit Strategy meeting. You're welcome to go back to your faction and communicate the results, and I'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks, Val.
Catch you later. Okay, it is time to speak with Bad Lazor, the commander of the Yuching forces. Let's give him a ring. Aha! Bad Lazor.
Hi.
Well, let's see here. Welcome to the Strategy Summit. I see that you've come in person. Thank you very much for doing that. Are you ready to lead Yuching to a victory in the Operation Wraithstar campaign?
Yeah, of course. I am ready as I ever be.
Fantastic. Well, Yuching is looking strong. Very happy to see that we have 12 players up and running. There is one guy called Nindox who is not in the team yet because he hasn't joined the right Discord server, but we'll be looking for him. Alrighty, thank you for submitting your information in time. We are going to have a talk about it. First of all, which of the factions would you prefer to face in the first round?
Yeah, we would like to throw a gauntlet to face Pan-Oceania as our first opponent.
Yeah. It hasn't gone unnoticed that Yuching and Pan-Oceania have been exchanging words in the public arena. We've all been seeing it. It's looking pretty hostile, but it remains to be seen whether you'll actually face them in battle in the first round. But I will note that down. Now, one thing I didn't ask you to do, but I will ask you to do right now, is if for some reason you don't get to play against Pan-Oceania in the first round, what would your secondary choice be?
That's a tough question.
You got 10 seconds.
We would like to go with, I think with, what was it? Sorry. It
5,
was,
4,
I think,
3,
maybe
2, 1.
NA2.
Okay. Alrighty, excellent. Now, in a moment, you are going to be making 2 different dice rolls. The first dice roll will be there to determine the likelihood that you get to play against your preferred opponent in the round 1. So every faction commander will make that dice roll. I'll simply look at all of the numbers they come up with, and I'll look at the highest roll, and that faction commander will get their first preference, and then I'll just work my way down the list, which may mean that if Pano chooses a different opponent because they roll higher than you, you may not get to face the right person. But the secondary choice may come into play, but we'll see, okay?
Yeah.
There will be another dice roll, and that dice roll will be to determine the likelihood that when you are matched up against a particular opponent, it'll be the likelihood that you get your preference of the map and mission rather than having to play on the one that they wanted to play on. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll just I'll compare your roll to their roll. However, I did say that there would be a small bonus if you got your information into me within 24 hours, and congratulations, you've done that. So here is the bonus that you will receive and be entitled to. You can choose either the roll for faction choice or the roll for mission choice, and whichever one you pick, I'll let you roll twice and pick the highest result. Which of the 2 outcomes would you prefer to use that bonus for?
We would prefer to roll twice on the faction roll.
On the faction. Well, I'm going to get you to do that right now. I'm going to get you to click roll. We'll record the number and we'll roll again. Go ahead.
Yep.
13. Okay, and you have a chance to improve on that. Roll it again. 9.
It's a 9.
Okay, all right. Not terrible. but above average in terms of preparation and initiative. So we'll see how that compares to other factions' results. I've seen a few people come in and submit their information so far. Let's talk about the maps, the zones, the missions. Which of the zones does Yu Cheng prefer to encounter the enemy on?
Eugene prefer, first of all, the 6th zone as the oblique assault zone. The finish line,
Yep.
I think that's the 10th zone. And the recovery, which is the 2nd zone, if I'm right.
I'm glad that you didn't choose the map that you yourself created, so thanks for not doing that. Is there a...
Yeah, well, it was a strategic decision, not on my side only, but
The supplies.
team, of course.
Fair enough. Which zone do you want to avoid?
We would like to avoid the 9th, the acquisition map. We don't have high regards of of that mission and map together.
Okay, well, it's time. Make your dice roll, and this will determine how likely it is that you'll get your way compared to your opponent. Ooh,
17.
17 mission choice. Okay, that makes it very likely that once we have determined your opponent for round 1, that it will be one of your preferred zones that the faction plays on. So well done on that 17.
Yeah.
Let's talk about troops. Let's talk about the Yu Cheng soldiers. Obviously, you'll be playing against the opposing faction commander, but you need a champion.
Yeah.
Which of the brave Yu Cheng soldiers will be your champion?
It will be Azuset.
Azuset.
Yeah,
I love that guy. He won the Best Sports Award in Season 1, and he's done consistently well in the leagues. So best of luck to him. I'm sure he will make everybody proud. You will need 3 players to defend your lines. Who is in your defensive fighting?
Yeah, it would be Al Español, if I'm pronouncing his name right. Zap. And Surmulk.
I see you have chosen Zap's miniature to represent yourself. We forgot to do the important part. I need you to go to your Bad Lazor model here and flip over the lieutenant's order, and we'll spend a short skill just to move him up to the command table. There we go. Just in front of it.
Just in front of it.
Done. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to do that earlier. It's just very important that we observe the rituals. Okay, very exciting. Well, good choices, and thank you for being organized. You are welcome to relay this information back to your team, and there will be a YouTube video very soon with everybody else's responses and dice rolls, and of course, the greatly awaited outcomes of the matchups. Do you have anything else to say publicly to represent Yu Cheng in this campaign?
Yeah, we are well prepared. Our citizens will be proud of us. So thank you for hosting this.
Is there anything that you want to say to Pan-Oceania specifically?
Yeah, well, the hostility is only one way around. I think we are just stated that they have some gaps in their thinking.
Gaps in their thinking. You heard it first. All right, thanks, Bad Lazor. I will be off. Appreciate you attending the summit.
Yeah, thank you.
Catch you
Bye.
later. Okay, it's time to talk to Commander Radic of the Nomads. Let's give him a ring right now. Okay. Commander Radic, can you hear me? It's Vaulsc.
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. Welcome to the Strategy Summit. Let me just zoom in on the scene. Are you ready to lead Nomads to a victory in the Operation Wraithstar campaign?
Of course.
Of course. Fantastic. Well, I've been watching the Nomads chat very closely, and I've been looking at the sign-ups. It looks like you have a strong list of players. How are you feeling about your chances in this campaign?
Of course, we will victory. It's assured. There's no reason for us to feel underconfident. No. It is basically won already.
One already. Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, why don't you go to your lieutenant token and flip that token over, and then we'll spend a short skill on your miniature to approach the command table. Excellent. Okay, let me tell you what's going to be happening. There's going to be 2 separate dice rolls that you'll be required to make. The first dice roll will partially determine whether you get any preference on which faction you'll face in the first round. Every commander will make that same roll, will record the number, and will go from highest to lowest. And in order of highest to lowest, those faction commanders will choose their opponents. You understand that?
Of course.
Of course. Okay. There'll be a separate dice roll to determine whether you are more likely to have one of your mission choices take precedence over your opponent's. That'll be the secondary one. Now, let's talk about it. Obviously, you'll have to face against the enemy commander personally. Are you ready to do that if you need to?
Of course, why not? The head should head clash with another head that was only appropriate.
Yeah, very well said. But you'll need a champion to face against their champion. Who have you chosen for that great duty?
Cobra Prime.
His
nickname reminds me of an old movies about Cobra Commando. Those guys were kicking ass, so I'm sure he will also kick enemy ass.
He does kick a lot of ass. He played, I believe, Bakunin in the first league and Tohar in the second league, and we all saw how well he did. So when he signed up, he simply said, "Make me the champion." So I guess we can't really say no to that.
Agree.
Very good. Well, you'll also need to select 3 nomad soldiers to form a defensive fire team. That's essential in this campaign. What are the names of the players you've chosen to do that?
Nonchalant Asura, because he seems confident, and confidence is important when you face the immediate threat. Another one is Temporal Distortion, because he's greener than the grass outside, and he needs to have a trial by fire. Last one is Hazmaster, because I hope he's a master of deception.
He's definitely a master of Haz. That's definitely the case. Okay, let's get down to business. Which faction do you have your eyes on right out of the gate?
Panosciania. I think those rich boys have the most money, and it would be nice to find the new owners of all those monies and cool toys.
Well, let me tell you something. Every single Pan-Oceania player in the campaign paid their entry fee on time. They are backed by bucket loads of cash from the hexahedron, and they're showing up to the planet just buying fancy cars, nice outfits. There's no limit to their funding, so I can't blame you for that decision. Now, I didn't ask you about this, but I'm going to ask you right now, if you do not have the opportunity to face Pan-Oceania in the first round, what would your second choice be?
Aleph.
Aleph. All right, that was an easy decision.
I mean, come on. Nomads have a grudge about those artificial intelligence. You can never trust them completely.
Yeah, well, if it certainly came down to the hacking, we'd certainly be watching closely to see how well you did against them. But I think between me and you, we know who would win that one. Excellent. Okay, now, congratulations. You submitted your information to me within 24 hours, and I did promise that there would be a reward if you did that. So congratulations. Let me tell you what you will receive. There will be 2 separate dice rolls, as I said. One for partially determining the matchup faction you face, and the other dice roll will be more about whether you get your choice of mission once we've found an opponent for you. What I'll allow you to do is choose one of those 2 different dice rolls, and depending on which one you choose, you're allowed to roll twice for that particular outcome and pick the highest number. But you'll have to tell me right now which you prefer. Would you like to use that bonus on the dice roll to determine faction or to determine the mission?
Mission, definitely mission. There's
Definitely
no
mission. Okay.
thought about that.
All right. Well, the faction opposition dice roll will come first. Will you please go to the dice and roll it? Just hover over it and we'll press R. 4. Okay, not the best dice roll. You may find yourself facing somebody that you don't want to face as a result of that, but that's okay. I'm sure the nomads will handle themselves anyway. Faction roll is a 4. Now, of course, the more important dice roll, you can just roll twice in a row. We'll record the numbers. This is the likelihood of the faction. Whoa, 18. Okay. Okay, slow down. And to improve on that. Oh! All right, you're not messing around. Not messing around.
Just as planned.
Okay, well, it's extremely likely that you will get to play one of the 3 missions that you have chosen. So, well done. I'm astounded by your tactical brilliance when it comes to outmaneuvering your much slower and more dim-witted opponents on this planet. So, congratulations on that.
This is the nomad way.
Okay, well, we're about to wrap up this strategy meeting. Do you have anything else that you want to say to represent nomads in this campaign?
No. Words are a silver, but the silence is a gold.
And anything to say to your opponents?
You can concede already. Your monies are gonna be now ours.
All right, thank you very much, Commander Radic. That's the conclusion of this summit meeting. Feel free to take this information back to your faction and look out for the outcome of the summit in a couple of days' time when we determine your opponent.
Thank you. Dusty done.
All right, bye. Okay, it's now time to speak with the leader of the combined army, Data Tracker. Data Tracker Don. Let's see what he has to say. Data Tracker Don, it's Luke here. Vaulsc. How are you?
Oh, I see what's wrong. Never mind. Hold on. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep. I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. Sorry.
We all good?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's get this strategy summit underway. I see that you have shown up in person, which I appreciate very much. And Combined Army, they are on the planet. They are here. Do you mind if we just ask why Combined Army have shown up to the planet? What's really going on?
So I certainly would think that most people were surprised that an emissary from the Combined Army showed up, and and I think the after probably a lot of security issues, expresses how it's trying to, reach out and help humanity.
All right, I'm just going to stop you right there. Reach out and help. That's all we wanted to hear. All right, let's get down. Let's get down to business. Can we just go over to the position here, and we're going to flip over that lieutenant's order.
Yep.
And after we've done that, we're going to spin a short skill on you and approach the command table.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you okay? Gotcha.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. Yeah, and just right in front of the table, right here. Yeah.
Very good. Oh, in front of the table. Gotcha. Sorry.
Okay.
Not on the table.
Not on the table. No. Okay. Now, we are going to be rolling some dice. Do you want a Combined Army vanilla dice, Morats, Onyx, or Shazvasti? Which dice color would you prefer? Did I hear Morats? Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yes. Morats.
Morats. All right, let's see how lucky they are. I'm just going to resize this dice. Now, let me explain how it's going to work. You're going to make 2 dice rolls. One of the dice rolls will be kept on record, number 1 to 20, and compared with that the other commanders have rolled. And I'm simply going to go down the list of top to bottom, highest to lowest, and whoever rolls highest will get to choose who they face in the first round, and then it will just go to other players after that, if that makes sense. The second dice roll that you make will be kept on record and compared with whoever you get matched up with for the first round. And whoever has the highest score, I'll pick one of the maps that they chose as the map that in the mission that you play. Does that make sense? I feel like we're still having some sound issues here. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, and did that explanation make sense?
Yep.
Perfect,
Absolutely.
okay. Now, I did say that there would be a bonus for commanders that got their information to me within 24 hours. You came in probably within 15 minutes of that, so I'm still going to give you the bonus. Now, here's how that will work. For one of the dice rolls you make, either the one pertaining to the opponent or pertaining to the mission, I'm going to let you roll twice and pick the highest number. But you have to tell me right now, which of those two dice rolls do you want the bonus to apply to?
I feel like who we face is more important.
Excellent, okay. On that note, who would you prefer to face in this campaign?
NA2.
NA2. Wow, right on the button. Now, I didn't ask you for this information, but I will ask you for it now, and you'll have a limited amount of time to answer this question. If NA2 ends up higher in the dice rolling than you and gets a different opponent, and you're left with, you know, your preferred enemy not available, what would your second choice be?
Ariadna.
Ariadna. Nice and quick and to the point. I like this guy. All right, fantastic. Whoever you end up dealing with, you will need some players in position. Obviously, you will have to play against the opposing faction commander. That's a given. Who have you chosen as your champion to go against the opposing champion? Oh, we're breaking up. Oh, there we go. Waterwerfer? Thorsten? Thorsten? Excellent. Okay, I'm locking him in. And you will need a defensive fire team of 3 players to obviously take on their counterattacks. Who have you chosen for those duties? Again, can't hear you.
You ready?
Yep, go. I'm listening. I'm not getting anything.
Hold on. Hannibal is fine.
Yep.
Kalfi.
Yep.
Fukushim.
Hannibal is fun, Kalfi, and Fukushim.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let me just check my little list. So Hannibal is fun, Vanilla combined, Kalfi, Morats, and Fukushim Onyx. A nice spread of factions for the defensive fire team. I like that. All right, now, as for the maps, we'll talk about the map shortly. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and make your dice roll for faction, and just remind me, did you choose to use your bonus on the choice of opponent?
Opponent, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to get you to make 2 Morat dice rolls right now. Go ahead. Okay, all right, don't even roll again. Fine, all right, it's a 20. All right, that makes it easy. Okay. All right. Well, that's what you get when you're an alien force backed by the EI showing up at a planet unannounced. All right, so you've rolled a 20. As for the missions, you'll only get 1 dice roll, so you've used your bonus, even though we didn't need to use the bonus. Tell me about the missions and maps that you would prefer to play on if you get the opportunity to.
Sure. I think it's just slow is what I think is going on. My 3 choices for maps are Frostbite, Annihilation, and Supplies.
Excellent.
And my veto mission.
Veto mission?
Did you hear that? Veto mission is recovery.
All right, so if I heard that correctly, you would prefer to play on either Frostbite, Annihilation, or Supplies, but you're going to rule out playing on Recovery. Is that correct? Data Track, are you there? Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, got it. Okay, cool. Well, I'll need you to make a dice roll then, which will be compared to the roll of whoever your opponent is, and whoever rolls higher, I'll give them one of their preferred missions. Make that roll right now. And it's a 5. Okay, so mission equals 5. So it's much more likely that you will get your preferred opponent, and that may well be either NA2 or Ariadna, probably NA2. But the mission that you play against NA2 might not be to your liking. Are you ready to face that consequence anyway? I've lost you. Yeah, you're really quiet and it's lagging a lot and I can't hear anything. Buddy, are you there? Stick with me. Hello.
Like the ping is
we don't need TTS anymore, so you're welcome to quit out of TTS. But yeah, I can only sort of get every little last bit of it. I was going to ask you for some sort of closing statement. Anything you'd like to say to the citizens of this fine planet that you have landed upon, shall we say? If I don't hear anything from you, then, you know, the silence will speak volumes, but is there anything you're able to say?
that I hope we can help, you know, ameliorate some of the discord between the humans by getting rid of the
you sort of trailed off there when you said getting rid of the, so I'm just going to speculate and say I think I heard getting rid of their problems or getting rid of their ailments or something like that. So I certainly hope that the rabble. Okay, that's what it was. I thought you were just going to say you were going to get rid of all life on the planet entirely, but you know that's completely unthinkable. Anyway, thank you for attending the Strategy Summit. I will be back in touch with you within 24 hours to let you know what the results are, so stay tuned and feel free to relay this information back to whoever you are. All right? So I'll see you again.
Got it. Thank you. Sorry for the communication issues.
No problem at all. I think we got what we needed. We'll catch you later.
All right. Take it easy, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, it is now time to talk to Dementor, the supreme commander of O12 and Aleph. So let's see what he has to say. Aha! Commander Dementor. It's Vaulsc here.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm listening.
Alright, so you've arrived on the planet and the campaign is kicking off. Are you ready to ensure victory for Aleph and O12 wherever it is needed?
Sorry, you're breaking up.
I just said...
options?
I just said that, are you ready to secure victory for O12 and Aleph wherever it may be needed?
Victory is not our main goal. Our main goal is to keep the peace and keep all the criminals at bay.
Well, let me just say something about that. I mean, your goal is to keep the peace, but hostilities are about to break out like we've never seen before. So, an admirable goal, but I guess if I could rephrase my question, do you feel confident that you'll be able to achieve that goal?
I think so. With my troops, yes, I trust them completely.
I mean, your troops are extremely impressive, sir. I can see right here that we've got... some Latvians, but just in general, a strong lineup. So I imagine that they will do well. Some very big names in there.
Hopefully, yeah, but we're most of us are newcomers to the police force, so it will be quite a challenge. But still, you never know how the rook plays out.
That is true. You never know. Well, let's get down to business. I'm going to need you to go to the lieutenant token next to the portrait of yourself and flip over the lieutenant's order, please, when you're ready. And then after you flip that over, we'll need to spend a short skill on yourself and approach the command table.
If only I could find the lieutenant's token. Can you please point me out?
Yeah, we're like right in the middle of the room right here. It's quite difficult to zoom in. Yeah, there it is.
Okay, I'll head.
All right. And we'll just bring him in close to the table here. Everybody has to do this. Yep, just drop him right next to the table. There's fine. Excellent. Okay. Let me just explain how this is going to work. There are going to be 2 dice rolls that you are going to be required to make. The first dice roll will be to determine your likelihood of facing the opponent that you prefer to face in the first round. Every commander will make that roll. I'll simply go down a list of highest roll to lowest, and the highest will get their faction choice in terms of opponent, and you'll just simply be left with what you can get there. Now, I didn't ask you this before, but I will ask you now. If you don't get to face your preferred opponent... in fact, let me just ask straight of all, who would you prefer to face in the first round?
Well, as I already mentioned, we've noticed some suspicious activity within Ariadne encampments.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot going on there. Yeah, and if you find out, let me know. Obviously, the press is very interested in what they are doing. We're hearing a lot of loud noises, and it's absolutely suspicious. You're right. Now, the question I was going to ask...
You actually never know if they will trade their allegiance for technology coming from outside invaders. So
that is a very good point. What I was going to ask you, though, is if for some reason you're unable to investigate them, what would your second choice be of faction?
That's a good question. I have to consult with my...
You've got 5 seconds.
It will take a little bit
4,
more. Just
3, 2, 1. I'm sorry, Dementor, I can't unfortunately write down your secondary choice, so it's either going to be Ariadne or whatever you're left with. Okay, well, let's move on and make that... Wait, hang on. Before we make the dice roll, I didn't have a chance to explain what the second dice roll will be about. Everybody will make a second dice roll, and that dice roll will be compared to whoever your opponent turns out to be. And the dice roll will determine whether you get your pick of a mission or whether it's your opponent that does. Understand that?
Yep.
Yep. Now, I did say that there would be a bonus for players that submitted their information to me within 24 hours, and by my calculations, I believe you've done that just barely. I think. I didn't even keep track of the time, but we'll say that you did. What I will...
let me check. I have everything recorded.
That's very meticulous of you. I like a commander who does good bookkeeping and recording.
We're 1 hour shy of being out of 24 hours, so yes.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, and in recognition of that, what I'll allow you to do is to choose, right now, one of the 2 dice rolls you're going to make. Either the dice roll to determine the likelihood of opponent, or the likelihood of the mission going your way. And depending on which one you choose, I'll let you roll twice and pick the highest number. But you need to tell me right now whether you prefer that to affect the choice for faction or for mission.
It will be a faction.
Faction, okay. Let's make that right now. I'm going to get you to roll twice in a row, and we'll look at what the numbers are, and this will determine the likelihood. So hover it over and roll, and we'll see what you get. First roll. 7, okay, and you do get another chance to improve on this.
With my
oh,
yes.
Okay. Well, that does significantly increase the chances that you'll be able to track Ariadne down and find out what they are up to. So I'm going to write that down on my notepad. Faction choice roll equals 16. Okay. Now, you've used your bonus. The next dice roll will stand no matter what you get. This will be compared with your faction opponent, and whoever has the higher number will be able to... I'll choose one of the missions that you wanted. So let's make that roll right now, please.
Sure.
11. Slightly above average. It could have been worse. Mission choice was 11. 16 and 11. Okay. We're going all right. Now let's talk about the police officers. Let's talk about the personnel. Who have you chosen as your faction champion to take care of business that you can't?
I have chosen Dev as my second in command, or faction champion.
It's a very impressive choice.
Yes, because I trust him completely. We have done a lot of training together.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I will be watching him very closely and will be keeping a close eye on his battlefield performance. Now, I also asked you to assemble a defensive fire team to make sure that, you know, O12 and Aleph, integrity is maintained. Which members of your team have you dispatched to form the defensive fire team?
It will be a 6-2 Koala who will take charge of the defenses with the Lord of Apathy and Inmac helping him.
Okay. And you realize that your enemy will get to choose whoever they want to face those 3 specific players. Is that correct?
Yes, let them choose. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Now, I also noticed earlier that you wrote something about a strike team. I didn't ask you to tell me who you were going to be using to face the enemy's defensive fire team. You're welcome to voluntarily tell me that, considering that it's public and everybody will know. But that's up to you.
Okay, the Lash will take charge of the strike team.
Mm-hmm.
He will be O12, leading forward a joint force of pure Aleph and OSS as our main attack forces.
Excellent. So what you're saying is that they will be going after the opposition defensive fire team. Have I understood that correctly?
Yes, that's the idea.
Very impressive. Well, we're about to conclude the strategy summit. Thank you for attending. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say on behalf of O12 and Aleph publicly for this campaign?
Yes, I would like to remind you that any mischief or crime will be punished properly, and the use of deadly force is authorized.
Okay, and any specific words to the commanders of other factions that are setting up on the planet as we speak?
We will be watching you closely.
Okay, well, I'll be watching you closely as well. You've spoken well and you've rolled well, so I wish you best of luck in this campaign, and that concludes our strategy summit.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me at the summit.
I'll see you later. Feel free to relay this information back to your faction.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
See ya. Okay, been waiting for this one. It's time to discuss strategy with Maslu, the Pan-Oceania commander. Let's get him on the phone right now. Phone's ringing. Hey, Maslu?
Hello, Val.
Maslu, thank you for attending the summit. I understand that you couldn't attend the strategy meeting in person, but I just want you to imagine that you have now arrived at the 50th floor of a very large corporate skyscraper, and you're surrounded by HVTs, and there is a command table in front of you, and we are ready to discuss the campaign. Are you ready to lead the Pan-Oceania troops to victory?
I'm ready to lead.
You're ready to lead.
The command actually gave me the mission. I'm going to finish it.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, I'm just going to flip over this lieutenant's order on the ground, and I'm going to move your character up to the command table, and we are going to talk. The first thing I want to say is that I'm extremely impressed by Pan-Oceania so far for several reasons. Number one, every single Pan-Oceania player paid the entry fee, which means Pan-Oceania, obviously very rich, very well supported, very well funded. The only other faction to do that was NA2, but they're backed by, the corporate overlords, so that can be expected. But I love that. That's fantastic. Secondly, for some reason, the great nation of Russia has sent like 7 military order knights in a massive crusade, as if like God himself had commanded you to take control of the planet. And thirdly, although you are meeting me for the summit after all of the other commanders have already spoken to me, you were the first player to submit your decisions and faction results. So congratulations for a job well done so far.
I think it's mostly because Pan-Oceania is the best faction overall in terms of organization and logistics. We treat the citizens of Human Sphere very seriously. And this mission is really important, not only for the Pan-Oceania, as some might say that it's only for economic reasons, but it's not true. We're here to defend the citizens, and there are no people better to defend the citizens than the military orders, because they protect the pilgrims.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
That's why the Vatican set the military orders here, to do the God's will and defend the people.
Well done, sir. Well, that's outstanding. I really commend you for that. But we've got some serious business to attend to now. although you're not here in person, you're on the phone, I'm going to be making 2 dice rolls in TTS on your behalf. The first D20 roll will be to compare you against the roll of other factions to determine who you'll be facing in the first round, okay? Did you have a preference as to which faction you will face off against first?
Well, obviously, since our mission is to protect the citizens and there's only one nation that uses to oppress citizens, Eugene is obviously our main target. We can't allow them to create a hegemony here and to take roots with their autocratic ways. So Eugene would be our main target.
Okay. When I've spoken to the other faction commanders, I've been asking them which faction they would prefer to get if they don't have their preference and their second choice. But before we get to that, I've spoken to Commander Bad Lazor earlier today. He's the commander of Yuching, as you probably know. Do you know which faction he told me he wanted to face first?
I'd probably guess Panosiani after that banter that happened today in the Discord.
Well, you're correct, as always. So you know what? I'm not even going to ask you which faction you'd prefer to face if you don't get Yuching. I'm just going to tell you right now, I've seen the dice rolls of every other faction, and Yuching did indeed pick you as the opponent, and I will indeed declare after this call that Pan-Oceania will be going to war with Yuching on Friday, the 17th of July. So are you ready for that conflict? Because it is going to be happening. All right. Now, there was a bonus for submitting your results first, and that bonus was going to be to give you 2 dice rolls, and we'll pick the highest roll to determine, which faction you'll face. But that's already been decided, so we don't even need to do that. Let's move on to other business then. You need to nominate a champion because Yuching have already nominated their champion. It's a player called Azuset, playing, I believe, Vanilla Yuching. Who is your faction champion for the first one?
The Panosiania champion for this campaign will be Brother Executioner, sent directly by the Vatican with credentials from Pope himself. He will lead the spearhead of our faction.
I heard that his skill with a sword is matched only by his faith in God.
Not only that, he's also a really nice person. All the citizens actually really love him. He's some sort of folk hero back in Panosiania. That's what I hear. Okay,
well, we'll be watching his combat with, as I said, very closely. Now, he has some brothers with him. You will need to assemble a defensive fire team because Yuching are probably not going to be holding back. They will be sending their soldiers to attack and wage war with you. Who have you got to defend your position?
So the glorious purpose of being a defense fire team to protect our flank from insidious Eugene would be brothers Glorious and Jorneus and Venge. They will be tasked with defending our flank. Fantastic. This will be our defense fire team, and I trust them. They will fulfill this duty.
Excellent, excellent. Now, although we've determined that you'll be facing Yuching in the first round, the one last thing that I have not determined after doing all of the other summits is which mission you will have to play when you face Yuching in the field. Which 3 missions would you prefer to face them on?
The missions that I would prefer to face Eugene on will be Oblique Assault, Frostbite, and Annihilation.
Okay. Interestingly enough, Yuching also picked Oblique Assault. So I was going to declare that Pan-Oceania and Yuching play on Oblique Assault. However, looking at my stats so far, I believe that Aleph and Ariadne will in fact be facing off on that particular part of the planet. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to roll some dice now, and I will indeed roll 2 dice and pick the highest result to try and beat the roll that Yuching have got. Now, Yuching rolled a 17 on their d20 for that, so it's going to be hard to beat that, so it's likely that Yuching will get to pick the map that they want to play on. But I'm going to make a roll anyway. You ready for me to do this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, I know you can't see this right now, but I'm going to tell you what I get, and you can watch the YouTube video later. So here comes the first roll.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. All right. First roll is a 6, which means you're behind, which means we're probably going to give the faction choice, the map choice to them, to the opposition, but you have one more roll, so I'm going to roll that again. And it's a 1. So, it's likely that you will not have your choice of mission. However, we don't know yet. The Yuching may have picked some missions which Pan-Oceania can easily handle and easily accomplish. So, I'll leave it to you to decide that later on. Did you have anything else you wanted to say on behalf of Pan-Oceania before we finish up our strategy summit?
Well, on behalf of all Pan-Oceania, I applaud everyone that comes to the planet. But I want to inform you that Pan-Oceania will stop at nothing to defend its interest. So you better be ready for that.
And do you have anything specifically to say to Yuching and to Bad Lazor?
I think you better be ready. You better be ready to give your best. Otherwise, you might end up in your penal regiments yourself.
When I talked to him, he said something about gaps in Pan-Oceania understanding or ability, something to that effect. I can't remember the exact words. Do you have any response for that?
Well, I don't know. I think that the gap in understanding is the difference between a free man and a slave. So that's maybe why he thinks we have a gap in understanding, because we actually think for ourselves. So that will be my response to him.
Okay, well, look, thank you for your words. Thank you for the good service you've done for the Pan-Oceania faction. I will now be going and announcing what will be happening. So do pay attention to Discord, and good luck in your forthcoming battle.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So,
goodbye.
See you next time.
See you.
Goodbye.
Okay, so now that we have heard from the 8 faction commanders, we've made them roll the dice, we've asked them for their decisions, they've submitted all the information that I asked for. It is now time to determine which factions will be playing each other in the first round, and which maps and missions will they be playing on. For that, we have to look at the data, and after that round of summit talks, I've got the following information. Let me just put this up here so we can all take a look at it. So, the first thing we want to look at is which faction rolled the highest for their preference of opposing faction, and that has to go to Combined Army. We had Data Tracker come in and roll a 20. Nobody else rolled as high, although I didn't get a roll from Pan-Oceania. The reason I didn't get that is because even if Pan-Oceania also rolls a 20, it's still going to give us the same outcome. Combined Army are going to pick somebody else. They didn't actually choose Pano or Yuching as one of their preferred opponents. So we'll look straight away at Combined Army, which preferred to play against NA2. NA2 up here rolled a 14, which is still pretty good, but we will indeed match Combined Army and NA2 together for that first round. Now that we know that they'll be playing each other, we can simply look at the map roll. The Mercs got a 10, whereas Combined Army got a 5. However, I do see that both factions have chosen supplies as one of their preferences. I find that kind of interesting. One of the strategies people, I assume, would be taking is that you're choosing missions that will be good for your faction, but also bad for the enemy faction. However, both sides have thought that supplies will be to their advantage somehow, which means that a narrative kind of emerges there. They both seem to meet each other on that same stronghold ground, the spaceship supplies 0G. So we'll be looking forward to their games with great anticipation, but it will indeed be Combined Army against NA2 and Toha on the supplies map and mission for round 1. Where does that leave us next? So the faction roll of a 20 and a 14 are now removed. Who got the next highest roll, considering that we know that Pano and Yuching are likely to be facing each other? Well, again, we come over to LF and O12. Aleph and O12 didn't choose Pano or Yuching, so even if Pano had rolled much higher, it wouldn't have mattered. So with the faction roll of a 16, we look at their preference. It is Ariadna. Ariadne doesn't have much say in it because they rolled very low. So the Space Police and Cops will be going after Ariadne and hunting them down. But looking at the option for mission, we have a map roll of 11 for Aleph and 012 and just a 5 for Ariadne. Looking at the map preferences, it seems that they've both chosen Oblique Assault, so it makes sense to me that we will indeed get them to fight each other on the ground where they're choosing to meet each other for battle. So Aleph and 012 will be playing against Ariadne round 1 on the Oblique Assault map in the wooded forests. Really keen to see how they go with that one. Yuching Pan-Oceania, I think that's what we all wanted to see. Yuching also has a pretty decent faction role. Nobody else seems to have been choosing them amongst the remaining factions, so we are going to slam them together. The real question, though, is which faction gets their choice of battleground. Well, unfortunately, as you saw, Maslu rolled a 6 and a 1, whereas Bad Lazor did get a 17, so I'm going to give it to one of the Yuching maps. Both of them have chosen Oblique Assault, but I've already given that to Ariadne and Aleph and 012. So on that basis of that reasoning, I'm going to pick one of the other missions that Yuching have submitted, either Finish Line or Recovery. I ended up going with Finish Line for that one, so it will be Yuching versus Pan-Oceania round 1 on the Finish Line map. By the way, to everybody watching, of course, everybody in both factions plays on the same map in the mission. So everybody within Combined Army and NA2 will be playing on supplies on that particular map, and everybody from Yuching and Pan-Oceania will be playing on Finish Line and that particular map. That is just how it works. Now, unfortunately, that just leaves us with 2 factions left. That's just how it is. They both got a 2 and a 4 on faction roll. I was reading in chat that there was apparently going to be an alliance between Haq-Islam and Nomads. Not possible, I'm afraid. They just simply are destined to face each other because the other factions got the initiative and chose everybody but them. So it will be Haq-Islam against Nomads in that first game round. But for the mission, although Haq-Islam has rolled a very solid 15, we saw that Radic came in with a 20 and just blew them out. So we'll have a look at what they've chosen. So it's Oblique Assault, Frostbite, and sorry, looking at the wrong one. Frostbite supplies Info Sweep for Haq-Islam versus Recovery supplies Annihilation. Supplies is looking like a good one. That's a great mission for both factions to do. But we're going to give the advantage to Nomads, especially because supplies is already in use. The Combined Army and the NA2 forces are already up there. So we'll pick one from Nomads that Haq-Islam didn't want to do. Annihilation was one choice, Recovery was another one. I decided to go with Recovery, so a bit of an advantage to Nomads there, but they did roll higher. It's just the way it is. So for game round 1, Haq-Islam versus Nomads on Recovery, and there you have it. We have our faction matchups, we have the missions. That's how I worked it out. We'll have a slightly different system of doing it for the next round, but for now, the commanders are assembling their defensive fire teams. We're going to work up on the matchups. Probably by around about Thursday, I'll have matched up every single player, and then on Friday, I'll be releasing the game submission Google form, which you can then use to tell us how you did in your games. Really excited, really looking forward to seeing which factions come out on top after the first game round. Remember, if your faction loses in the first game round, don't lose heart because you still retain your points and the following matchups will matter. So let's say you're at the bottom of the pile, or maybe you come second place, the standings can definitely change because the factions are going to be playing different factions over the course of the 3 weeks and anything can happen. So stay frosty, stay interested, stay in chat. We want to hear what you have to say, and of course, thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.